fast, fatal heart impact. Past painful scars, in fact, I blast tasteful bars and past. I back up my actions, fact, don't ask, grab reactions, jacked, attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kyusho here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, quite a number of things were happening. Now, in the last part, Deku and Emilia, they experienced each other's memories. In the last part, Deku saw life Emilia has experienced through her eyes. He saw how her species were driven from their homeworld, how they were forced to live on a planet that's harsh, and well, yeah. He saw how her life progressed. He saw memories of when her species discovered humanity, whenever she was almost killed, and whenever she was assigned to go to Earth. And Emilia, she saw memories of Deku's life, and she even saw something that happened to him in his past. The reason why Deku, he seems to be very emotionally unavailable. Now, Deku and Emilia, they did get a bit more closer in the last part, because Deku, he didn't want to talk about it. Deku was always very emotionally unavailable in his past, and a lot of people, they seem to notice this, and he always seemed to be a loner. Now, Deku, yeah. He was never able to heal properly after his friend's passing. There was nobody he could talk to about what happened, without revealing himself as a freak. Hell, his friend was buried, and he couldn't even talk to the people who raised him. He couldn't talk to anyone of the nuns, or even anybody at the orphanage. Because if he starts talking about it, questions could be asked. Questions that should be better left unanswered. Now, with that being said, Deku and Emilia, they are spending some time together. And they did watch a movie Deku knew his friend really enjoyed. And we do at least have Deku the next day at work, or let's just say about a few days later, where right now he's sitting at his desk and he's filling out some paperwork that he's been needing to do for quite a bit of time. As somebody did come walking up and ask exactly if he's alright. Yeah, what's up? Why? Oh, well, a few people have been asking questions about you. Why? Well, you seem to be doing better, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to insult you about that. What do you mean? Well, a lot of people, they've talked about how you seem to be broody. Does that make sense? I'm broody? Yeah, but that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just, someone mentioned earlier that you seem to be doing better. You seem to be a lot happier. Did something happen to you recently? Oh, uh, yeah. Yeah, I'm talking to somebody, actually. Hey, good for you, man. So, what do you mean by talking to somebody, though? Like, are you going to therapy, or you talking to a friend about things, a family member, or I don't really have a family. Oh, my God. Sorry, dude. Sorry. It's no. I was an orphan. Oh, really? Yeah. It's not something I talk about. It's public record, but I don't like mentioning it. My parents died when I was pretty young. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Uh, I hope I didn't ruin your mood. Huh? Not really. Just doing some paperwork, and that already kind of ruined my day. I was supposed to be going out on patrol, but I decided to do this today. Take things a little bit slower, you know? Uh, are you feeling alright, man? I'm fine, yeah, why? Because you're the guy who's a loose cannon, and you're talking about taking it slow. Yeah, okay. Is something wrong with that? No, it's just you're usually no fucks given sort of guy, you know? Yeah, that's fair. Then again, I'm just tired today. Hmm? Were you up pretty late last night? Uh, you could say that, yeah. Deku just going to avert his eyes, telling the guy that he hasn't really been sleeping too well, and there's been a lot of things on his mind recently. Now, as the day is over, Deku does get to head home, and you do at least have the older detective that Deku he does work with. They were very surprised. They knew that this guy, Midoriya, or Officer Midoriya, or Detective Midoriya, whatever you want to call him, he's always very secretive about his past. However, he just shared something about it. He told somebody about his past. And that is what intrigued them about this. They wanted to pry more, maybe learn about this. He just mentioned it's on public record that he was an orphan and his parents died. And while that is tragic and sad, they want to know more about it. If Deku was an orphan, could he have been in a gang? Could he have been adopted by a mafia family or even just someone with ties to things like that? They want to look into it more and more and more. And that's what intrigues them. They want to know more about this guy. Now, we do currently have Deku, where he does get home from the office or get home from the agency, if you don't want to give it that name, and he does walk inside his apartment. As whenever he does arrive, he does at least go to walk into the kitchen and go to grab something. As he does at least go to grab some leftovers from what he believes to be lunch that Amelia has made. Him walking to the living room as he does see Amelia laying down on the couch asleep in her human disguise. And Deku, he does at least appreciate that she's been way more careful with that. As he does go to heat up his leftovers and then go to walk back into the living room. As he does stare at Amelia, and he does think that she may just be asleep. Or she may just be, well, super tired. Now, Deku, he does notice that Amelia, she seems to be, well, he doesn't know what really. She's making this slight sound. It's this high-pitched sound that sounds sort of like a dog whistle. He can hear it for a second or two, but then it just vanishes. And Deku, he's worried about that. At first, he didn't really recognize what it was. However, there is whenever his microwave does go to start beeping. And the moment it does, Amelia, she does actually go to turn and go to flip over in her sleep. Her actually emitting a sound that does make Deku go to bring his hands up to his ears. As when that does actually happen, you do where he does walk over to her and go to bring his hands up. As he does go to reach down and go to shake Amelia awake. Him slightly at least going to, well, shake her, as she's going to sit up, kind of confused. Her going to turn as Deku is going to bring his hand directly up to her mouth. And Amelia is very caught off guard, as Deku is going to bring his hand up and just point down to his neck. And Amelia, she's surprised as she's going to bring her hands down and her necklace is not there. Her towering to the table and going to grab it. As Deku, he does wait for her to put it on. And after she does do that, you do actually have where she does ask him exactly what's wrong. You were sleeping without your necklace. Huh? Sorry. It must have fallen off. Amelia, are you alright? I don't know. I haven't been sleeping too well. I know. Neither have I. But it's to be expected. I'm processing trauma and coping with it. I think that's what you're doing. But my species, we don't exactly deal with grief the same way yours does. How can you be so sure? My species, we have things called grief, or the 5 stages of grief. And there's many things about it that even we don't understand. There's different stages of dealing with a problem. You may think you're done with it, but it's never really done. It can take years or decades to even come to terms with certain things. Hell, I know, I think I'm finally dealing with it. Maybe I was stuck in a place for a while and I was screaming at myself about a lot of things, but listen, your species, you may be more human than you do think. Hmm? What do you mean? Her turning her head, and Deku just stared at her, kind of surprised. She has bad head from what it looks like. Hmm. Okay. Listen, you were having a nightmare, weren't you? Hmm. I was. I wasn't experiencing a good dream, but it wasn't necessarily a bad one. But it was harsh to deal with. Okay. Listen, it's alright. I'm here, okay? Listen, if you want to, we can watch some TV, get your mind off of things, okay? Her just going to nod, as we do have, where Deku does go to turn, or at least go to turn and change the channel. And he does go to stand back up, and go to grab his food and go change. As Naruto does come walking back out, the two they do start to watch a few movies. And Deku he's talking to Amelia about exactly a few things. As you do even however he is asking her about exactly one thing in particular. He does ask Amelia how she does feel on the subject of, well, being the representative of Earth, or the person who is going to be their observer. Hmm? Oh, um, well, that's a question I don't exactly know too much how to answer. What do you mean? Well, this is an important assignment. And my father, he assigned me here. Uh-huh. But necessarily things have been complicated, especially with you in the mix. Okay. So what do you mean by that? Well, I'm not too sure the best way to say this, but my father does have some worries about me being in the same household as a human. He worries that there's a chance things could happen. A pathogen exchange, a sickness, but from the research we've done, that's all impossible. My father has worries that they shouldn't be there. Really? Yes. From what I understand so far, we are mostly immune to your human sicknesses, and you should be immune to ours. Your biology wouldn't be capable of understanding our illnesses as well. What does that exactly mean? Well, I don't know how to explain it, but hmm, your body heat is hotter than ours. Your body heat would kill a pathogen before ours could. And, well, if I'm correct on the assumption, the way my biology does work, I'm mostly immune to certain bacteria on your planet. Really? Yes. Well, it is technically a foreign bacteria to me. I'm alright. Huh. Okay. But I do have a few other questions, though. Ask away. You have siblings, right? Hmm? Um, why does that matter? Well, I mean, I heard your guard talk about you being one of the royals and one of the heirs. So that does mean that you have a sibling, right? Hmm? Yes, I do. Now, Deku, he does get to sit down an empty plate, as his turn to Amelia as she's just leaning backwards with her head. And she does just tell Deku that her sibling, they aren't exactly somebody that she does share, well, ideals with. Nor do they share the same type of, well, what's the right human word for it? What's wrong with them? They share, they're mostly strict. They're mostly uniform, as the word would be for you. They just want to do what they need to. My mother and father, they'd be more willing to wait and search for a planet that more than likely would not exist. We found Earth. We found a few others. And we set down roots on one of the most uninhabitable planets with an atmosphere that can contain us. But, so far, we've done bad things there. So you can't find a planet like Earth? The problem is not finding a planet like Earth. The problem is finding a planet like Earth that does not have a species on it already. And that can actually be the ideal zone for us. Okay, I see. Yes, my species were complicated once. Along with that Earth's gravity, it is slightly stronger than our own. Really? Yes, it is. It's fairly weird to get accustomed to. In fact, we do have to go through certain training to be able just to withstand your gravity. It's not too difficult, but it does make certain things stressful and hard to do. Wait, really? Yes. Why? Does that puzzle you? No, it's just whenever I was in your ship, I thought something felt off about my movement. Ah, yes. That's the natural gravity of my home planet. Really? Yes, it is. However, the planet that we do inhabit it at least does have double the gravity of your planets. So, so around 2.5 times? Hmm? Are you serious? Yes, yes. Now, Deku does watch as Amelia is going to bring her legs close to her chest, and she's going to ball herself up. Hmm? Amelia, are you okay? I'm fine. No, you're not. Sorry if I'm hitting a nerve. I was just. I'm sorry. No, it's quite alright. I'm just. Well, my sleeping habits, they've been off. I was trying to catch up on sleep. And, well, you know, you've been having them too, haven't you? Yes, I've been having nightmares, as you would call them. It makes sense. You're trying to process information again. You're trying to re-put the information through your mind. You already know what you thought about it before. You already could settle on what you had before, but now you're trying to change what you think about it. Really? Yes. In fact, I'd put it in a way like this. You're bargaining. You want to know exactly why things have happened. I might be wrong, but Amelia, you're forming what you don't think about your current predicament. Really? But I was always dead set on it. We'll go back home. There it is. Bargaining. I want to go home or I want to find a place like it. I don't want to be on that rock. Yup. Now, Amelia, she just feels dumbfounded. For a second, she's just sitting there with a blank expression. And she's trying to replay those things over and over again in her head. What exactly she is thinking. What exactly she has been doing. And They're easy from the thought where she does think about how things would be if her species does settle on Earth. Yes, sharing their native planet would be difficult for Deku's species. However, it would be okay, right? Maybe? Sure, it would be strange and odd, but maybe they can make a deal. Maybe they can, well, get things arranged in a way. Get things settled and evened. Trade technology for land, things that humans they wouldn't understand at all, give them a better concept of it, understanding. Hell, help them explore the stars. She understands that they haven't gone past their planet's solar system. Now, we actually do have where, while she is thinking about this, you do have where Deku just come walking back over and set down a cup of tea. Her actually looking at that, as she's going to look towards Deku, seeing that he's currently holding another glass. What is this? You seem to be, well, stressed out. Relax. Oh, thank you. Now, Amelia, she is going to grab the cup. Her sipping from it to find that it's actually a little warm. And Deku, he does at least try to explain to her that he did put some ice cubes in it to let it somewhat dissolve. However, for right now, just nurse it, since it might not last too long. Alright, now, Deku and Amelia, they do somewhat just sit there quietly, watching the movies. Now, you do have where Deku, after at least one or two more movies, he does decide to go to bed. It's already pretty late, and if he does at least try to stay up longer, then more than likely, he is going to not get enough sleep. Him going to leave. We do actually have a few hours later where Deku, he is currently sleeping in his bed, and he himself actually is having a nightmare. He's remembering that night. He's remembering what happened. And he's remembering what he did to try and save his friend. It was a stupid decision he made, and one he wishes he could reverse. Now, that was just one of the many things he did that night. And he himself does question why he did it, as he's currently sitting there in a dark, dark space. Him looking down at his hands to see that they're both covered in blood. As he's going to look up and see his friend just standing there, the wound still in his body, as his friend is repeating a few things. And as Deku, he's staring at that, he does hear the violent sound of screaming. As he's going to somewhat turn, and the moment he does, he immediately gets struck by something. The darkness all around him, it does disappear. And he's confused. He hears something start to echo. And it's strange. It takes him a minute to focus on it. It takes him a second to realize, as this dark energy around him, this nightmare, it starts to go away. Now, you do actually have where Deku, he does start to somewhat open his eyes. As he does so, he does find that he's awake. Him lying in his bed. He can see the alarm clock as it's currently at least 3:14. Him just wondering, why did he wake up? What's going on? Are you okay? Deku hearing that voice. It does slightly make him jump. The moment he does, you actually have Amelia who does actually wrap her arm around him, talking about how he was at least screaming. And she wanted to make sure he was okay. I'm fine. You startled me. Are you sure? You were making things levitate. I was? Yes, you were. Are you sure you'll be fine? Yeah, yeah, I'll be okay. I'm just tired. Are you sure? It seemed like you, well, I don't know. You kept repeating something. What did I say? I don't exactly know. Now, Deku, he does go to lean up and go to turn on the lamp by his nightstand. As he does go somewhat turn and roll his body flat. Him actually seeing that Amelia, she's laying down in his bed and asking exactly if she happens to be okay. No, I haven't been able to go back to sleep. Sorry. I'm. My nightmare is just. It was your friend, wasn't it? Yeah, yeah. I apologize. But. Would you like me to stay with you? Hmm? What do you mean? It is something that I've seen before. When one human struggles to sleep, another stays with them for emotional support. You seemed quite distressed. I do not know how much, well, support it would give you, but I will be here. Now, Deguta stared at Amelia. He knows for a fact that she's not just saying that. He knows that she, herself, is very tired, and she wants to go to sleep. He can tell that she's not, well, getting enough. Now, Deku, he does just look towards her, as he talks about how she can stay with him, and that for tonight, she can sleep here in his bed. Thank you. No worries. They're going to reach over and turn off the nightstand light, as he does go to lay on his side. And Amelia, she actually does go to get a bit closer to Deku, as she does go to turn her back towards him. Now, Deku, he does realize after a minute or two that Amelia, she may have already passed out, and she is out cold. And Deku, he is thinking about it, as he does go to look over his shoulder. He can't see her in the dark, but if you didn't think about it, you could mistake her for human, even with that bloody disguise. Now, Deku, he does go back to sleep. And we do actually have where, whenever Deku, he is getting his nightmare again, it isn't as intense. It doesn't go, well, off the rails. Well, he does feel these things, get these nightmares. They're just lighter. He understands that he's talking to somebody who may have passed. He understands the situation as it may or may not have happened. And he doesn't have a nightmare. He watches the life his friend should have had. He spent time with his friend in this dream. And when he woke up in the morning, he actually felt okay. And there actually was whenever he did go to open his eyes. Him slowly starting to move, as whenever he does try to get up, you do actually have somebody who they're holding on Deku. And Deku does feel the arm laying across his torso. As you do actually have where Amelia, she is laying completely against Deku. And she's at least mumbling a few things in her sleep. And Deku, he does go to bring his hand up and carefully go to remove it, as he does go to turn and look towards his alarm. Him noticing that it's at least about an hour or so before he does actually have to go to work. And he does go to bring his hand out to turn it off. Now, Deku, he does just sit at the edge of his bed. He's not experienced something like that before. He's okay. Deku turning towards Amelia. He doesn't want to know what she might be having nightmares about. She might still be bargaining with her planet, bargaining with the home she's lost. Now, Deku, he does get to think. Speaking of that, that reminds him of a case. Him going to get up and walk towards the shower. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.